Hello friends, this is the first video of the molecular cloning series where we will be learning how to design primers to amplify a specific DNA sequence using PCR. Now let me first introduce cloning. So the word cloning means creation of an exact replica of something. Now in the late 1960s, scientists deciphered a method of creating multiple copies of a short DNA sequence, and that method is simply known as molecular cloning. Molecular cloning, it is a very common technique in molecular biology where we insert a specific DNA sequence, generally a gene, into a vector, and this vector, it contains all the factors which are necessary for the formation of multiple copies of the desired gene of interest without altering the host original DNA sequence. Molecular cloning has multiple applications, like it is used in the sequencing of the genome of multiple organisms. It helps in the large scale production of specific proteins, and it has applications both in the industries as well as in the research. It is also has been used for generation of multiple transgenic organisms and also generation of the genetically modified organisms like generation of golden rice and also generation of transgenic mice, which are used very commonly in the research. And it is also used in the gene therapy. Basically cloning is used, say suppose a gene X is not functioning properly within a cells, so using cloning we can clone the specific gene into a vector, and then it can be transferred into those cells which will resume the normal functioning of the cells. Molecular cloning, it consists of multiple steps. The first step is the amplification of the gene of interest using PCR. So in PCR, first we design a forward and reverse primers which includes restriction sites, and these sites are unique for the gene of interest, and these sites are the single cutters in the plasmid where we will transfer this gene of interest. So the first multiple copies of gene of interest are formed using the both forward and reverse primers which contains the restriction sites. Then using the unique restriction sites, both the gene of interest and the plasmid, they are restriction digested, and as based on whether what kind of restriction enzyme were used, it forms either a sticky ends or it can also form the blunt ends. And then these restriction digested fragments, these are then subjected to ligation using DNA ligase, which ligates the vector and the inserts. And then this recombinant DNA is then transformed into bacteria, majorly DH5 alpha cells. And clones are basically checked and confirmed whether the cloning has happened or not, whether the correct recombinant DNA has been formed. And this can be validated using three different methods. Either we can use both the restriction sites which were used during the cloning, that is, say, restriction site A and B. And when we will digest this recombinant DNA, with these two sites, we will see a pop out where we will see a smaller chunk like this and a larger chunk like this. From this, we can say that the cloning was successfully done. Either we can also pick up the positive clones which came in the LB agar plate, and then we can set up a PCR. And if the gene of interest is there, then we will get a specific band for that when we will run an agarose gel. And the third point is we can validate it using a sequencing, whether the gene of interest is there in the plasmid or not. Now, one of the most important step is the PCR amplification of the gene of interest. And for the PCR amplification of gene of interest, we need a pair of primers which consist of a forward primer and a reverse primer. So let us first understand how we design a primer. So for designing a primers, there are multiple thumb rules which we should always keep in our mind. So these are the primer length, it should be always between 18 to 30 base pairs. So if we take say if we take a primer which is less than 18 bases, then it has many chances that it will bind to the non-specific locations. And if we take a very large primer, then it is not a cost effective way to go for large sizes primers. Okay. Then the second point that we have to keep in mind is the melting temperature. Ideally, the melting temperature is the temperature at which half of the DNA gets denatured from the double stranded form to the single stranded form. So this is the definition of the melting temperature, and it's for the primers it should be between 52 to 65 degrees Celsius. And the primers pairs, that is the forward and reverse primer, the difference between the melting temperature of the forward and reverse primer, it should not be more than 5 degrees. And we should always be in mind to have a GC content between 40 to 60% for both the primer sets. And always make sure that the primers doesn't have any complementary region or repeats. Say if they have intra repeats, so say we have a primer which has a 5 prime to 3 prime sequence. So if it has intra repeats or intra complementary sequences just like this one, then it has tendency to form hairpin loops, or if they have intra complementary regions, they can form self dimers also, just like this. And this hairpin loop formation and self dimer formation, it will prevent these primers from binding to the site of interest on the gene of interest which we want to amplify, and then it will drastically reduce the efficiency of the amplification of gene of interest. And if there is presence of inter-complementary sequence between the forward and reverse primers, then they have chances that there is formation of primer dimers between the forward and reverse primer, which will also drastically reduce the efficiency of PCR, the amplification of the gene of interest. And as I have already mentioned, for the cloning of a gene of interest into a vector, we always use restriction sites at the 5 prime ends of our primers, both the reverse and the forward primers. So if we are adding restriction sites, we have to always keep in mind that we should always add 3 to 6 bases for the enzyme to sit and then catalyze its restriction digestion activity. So say if this is our forward primer and the red indicates the restriction sites where the enzyme will cut. So if the enzyme will cut between say A and C, so we should have basically an enzyme seating site, say which consists of 3 to 6 bases just upstream of the site where the enzyme will cut, so that this can act as a clamp where enzyme will sit and then it will efficiently carry out its digestion activity, endonuclease activity. Okay. Today we will be practicing primer designing. For that, we will be using human Pol gamma A, which is a polymerase present in the mitochondria. So we will be cloning human full length human Pol gamma A gene into a vector which has a GFP fluorescent tag at its C terminus. For cloning Pol gamma A into a PLVX ACGFP N1 vector, we need to generate the forward and reverse primers for amplification of the cDNA sequence of the Pol gamma. So first I will show you how to find the cDNA sequence of the Pol gamma. So for that, you go to Google and then type Ensembl. So this Ensembl genome browser will come. You just open it. You can also find the cDNA sequence from the NCBI site also, but I find Ensembl easier, so that's why I'm sticking to it. So then you write Pol gamma A, and as you can see, this Pol gamma A, it is also present in the mouse. So you can also find from here, you can also find the cDNA sequence of the mouse Pol gamma sequence, but we are interested in human Pol gamma. So this is Pol gamma A and this is the human gene. So we will click on this one. And then when Pol gamma whole databases comes, then for getting the cDNA sequence, we have to click on CCDS link. So as you open this one, so you just scroll down. So this is the cDNA sequence. So we will copy this sequence. So at first we have to identify unique sites which doesn't cut in this Pol gamma gene. So for identifying that, we will use NEB cutter. So you use this NEB cutter and you just paste your gene sequence here and then submit. And then this NEB cutter site, it will show all the restriction sites which are present in your gene of interest. So as we want to clone this complete gene of interest, so we will take those restriction sites which doesn't cut in our gene of interest. So we will go to zero cutters, which doesn't cut in this Paul gamma sequence. And we will go for most common restriction enzyme. So this is the list of all the enzymes which are zero cutter for polymerase gamma A. So we will go with BAMH1 and EcoR1. So we'll check whether these restriction sites are there in our plasmid of interest. So as we have already checked from the NEB cutter that we can use BAMH1 and EcoR1, two restriction enzymes, which are zero cutters in the cDNA sequence of the human gene Paul gamma A. So the next set of data that we want for primer synthesis is the vector map. So I've already had the vector map of PLVX ACGFP-N1 vector. So as you can see, it has an MCS site, that is the multiple cloning site. Now this MCS in a plasmid, it is the region where only those restriction enzymes sites are there which are single cutter in this complete plasmid. So this is the sequence of the MCS of this plasmid. So as you can see, it has both EcoR1 and the BAMH1, which are single cutter in this plasmid, and we can use EcoR1 and BAMH1 for cloning of a human Paul gamma A in PLVX ACGFP-N1 vector. So we will be using EcoR1 in the forward primer and BAMH1 in the reverse primer. So this is the Paul gamma cDNA sequence which I have downloaded from the Ensemble. And I have already highlighted the sequences which we are going to use for the generation of forward and the reverse primer. So let's first see how to synthesize a forward primer. So for synthesizing a forward primer, you have to always select say 10 to 15 nucleotides from the 5' end of your gene of interest which you want to clone. So here I have selected the initial 18 bases of the Paul gamma cDNA sequence from the 5' end. So these are the 18 bases which I will be using in the forward primer. And we must always keep our restriction sites on the 5' end of our primers. So as I have already mentioned that we will be using EcoR1 in the forward primer site. So this is the restriction enzyme site of EcoR1, that is GAATCC. And one of the thumb rule for primer designing, which I've already mentioned, is whenever we are adding restriction sites at the 5' end, we must always add certain clamp sequences which should be between 3 to 6 base pair long. So as you can see, this is the site of EcoR1 where EcoR1 cuts that between G and A. Okay, so this is the 6 bases long EcoR1 site, and these 3 on both extremes of the EcoR1 site are the clamp sites or the enzyme sitting sites, which will help in the efficient digestion of the Paul gamma cDNA sequence with the EcoR1 site. Okay, during the cloning process. There is a file which is present on the NEB site which you guys can use. So this is the file. The link for this file I've attached in the description. So this files, it tells the restriction sites which we can use along with the enzyme sitting sites or the clamp sites. So if you see here, so as we wanted to use BAMH1 and EcoR1, this is the BAMH1 site, which this one, the second one, which I will be using in my reverse primer. So this is the palindromic sequence which BAMH1 recognizes, that is GGATCC, and it cuts between GG. Okay, and this two, that is CG, these are the enzyme sitting sites. Means it also tells us about if we use this oligos in our primers, how efficiently enzyme will work. So for BAMH1, I will be using the 10 nucleotide long oligo sequence, And for EcoR1, as it is in the forward primer, and the cloning that I am doing, it is for the purification of the recombinant Pol gamma A. So I want to maintain triplicate codon sequence. So for that, I will be using 12 bases long restriction site. So this is the site for the EcoR1 highlighted in red, that is GAATTC, and it's cut between G and A. And this is the enzyme sitting site which is present upstream of the restriction site, the EcoR1. And here if we use this oligo, the percentage of cleavage that will be there after 2 hours and 20 hours of incubation. So for EcoR1, I will be using 12 base long oligo sequence, and for BAMH1 I will be using 10 bases long oligo sequence. This file, it is very helpful for designing the primers for PCR amplification of gene of interest. So this is our forward primer. So we should always keep our restriction enzyme sites upstream of 5' sequence of our gene of interest which we want to clone. Okay. So this is the template sequence that we have used, and this is the primer which is same. We are not supposed to do reverse complement in the forward primers. So this is our forward primer. Okay. Then for the reverse primer, I have used last 21 bases in the 5' to 3' direction from the last part of the Pol gamma cDNA sequence. Okay. So here we will be having first last 21 bases of the Pol gamma A, followed by our enzyme, that is the BAMH1, which we are using in the reverse primer. And as I have already shown, this is the site for the BAMH1, that is GGATCC. And the last 3 bases are the enzyme sitting sites, which will helps in efficient sitting of the enzyme, followed by its efficient cutting at its specific location. Okay. And always remember for the reverse primer, so this was our template sequence followed by our restriction enzyme palindromic sequence along with the clamp sites. We have to always do its reverse complement. Now the reverse complement is very easy. So if we break the terms, reverse means complement, we have to start from the reverse, that is from the back, and complement it means we have to use the complement of this one. So I have done the reverse complement. If we go from back and select the complement of G, so it will be C, and for C it will be G, and for G it will be C. So if you don't want to do it manually, so what you can do is you just select this complete sequence. Okay. And then there are online tools available. So if you just type reverse complement on Google, and you will get this bioinformatics site where you have to just paste your sequence here and then just press submit, and you will get your reverse complemented sequence from 5' to 3' position. Okay. So here for the reverse primer, I already did the reverse complementation. So this is our reverse complemented sequence. So this is our reverse primer. Okay, this is how we generally synthesize the forward and reverse primers. Okay, so in the next video I will be talking to you guys about the PCR, which is basically used for amplifying the gene of interest or the sequence of interest. Okay, and it is one of the most important steps in the cloning. So thank you guys. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to our channel, and thank you guys.